Hello everyone, Christina here with another video at my YouTube channel. In my last video on Friday, I mentioned that I had a bunch of leftovers on my desk, and specifically all these hearts from this layer in this 3D box card. Tons of hearts that I had left over, and I also had all these greetings that I created in my last video. And I thought, I've got a lot of hearts, they're all in common. So why don't I make a really simple card with all these leftovers and just place a bunch of hearts on a card? This is a very simple one layer card and it works up super, super fast as well. So I'm using my jewel picker from Marvy to pick up all these die cuts and move them around. It was just a little bit easier than using tweezers or my fingers. And I'm going to position these kind of mostly in the top right corner of the card, including the love and you hearts from that greeting set. By the way, I'll have all the dies and stamps that I used for these listed down below in the supplies. So after I had it sort of arranged where I wanted it, I then picked up each one of these hearts and I started out by putting some honeybee precision glue underneath each die cut, but then I found that it was a little easier just to go ahead and put the glue on the back of each heart. That made it so that I could position it perfectly where I wanted it before moving on. Sometimes it was a little hard, so I had to move to my fingers. But for the most part, this was super easy and simple. Now, if you wanted to keep all of these hearts in the exact same position, there are a few different things you could do that could help you. One of them is to use Glad Press and Seal, which is almost like cling wrap that people use in their kitchens, but it's a very, very low tack adhesive. And you can lay that over the top and pick up all of those hearts all at the same time, apply adhesive at the same time, and then bring it back to your project and place them all at the same time. I didn't think to do that at the time, but in hindsight, I think I probably would have done that. If I was to make this card again, I would do that. So I took my scissors and cut off any of the excess that was hanging off the edge, just a couple of hearts that were hanging off the edges. And then that finishes the card. This card came together so quickly. It's only about 2.5 minutes in this video, but I think in reality, since I did speed up the video footage, I think it took me about 6 minutes total to make this card. And I think it looks pretty, pretty neat. So now I'm going to be creating an envelope for this card. I'm sending this card to my friend Lisa Stein, who lives in Vegas. This is going to be her P.O. box that I'm using. And I adore Lisa. I've only met her in person a few times, but she has always been the most encouraging and just smart. I can't say enough good things about her. She's fantastic, and she tells it like it is. And you need friends like that, right? So a while back, I guess it wasn't that long ago, it was like 3 weeks ago, I ended up getting a used Peloton cycling bike to exercise at home. And Lisa just so happened to have one, and she's had it for a little over a year, maybe a little more than that. And she has been so encouraging, answering all my questions, giving me recommendations on what padded bike shorts to buy and different things like that. But she's been so wonderful. So I just wanted to send her a quick Valentine's Day card, kind of I love you, girl. Thanks for encouraging me. And she's been fantastic. So after I penciled on Lisa's name and address, I'm now using that same kind of champagne gold color that I used on my envelope on Friday. If you saw that one, or if you haven't, I'll have it linked in the top corner. But on that envelope, it was a black envelope, and I penciled on some lips, and then I colored the lips in this gold color. That envelope was going to my friend Susan. And I have just been obsessed with this gold watercolor shade ever since. And I did learn some additional things after working with that one the first time. And you'll see me kind of go through it on this one as well. This particular shade of watercolor, because it is so shimmery, it can sort of have little sparkles that spread if you rub over the top of it. But I did learn that if you use the Distress Microglaze, and you'll see me use that in this video, if you use the Distress Microglaze to sort of seal the envelope and help protect it against moisture, it does prevent a lot of that shimmer from moving around. Now, you're going to see me at the end of this video use the Distress Microglaze, and there's generally 2 steps for using the microglaze. You first apply it and kind of rub it all over the place, and then you're supposed to buff it off, like buff off any excess with a paper towel. And I discovered that a lot of that shimmer just kind of went everywhere, all over the surface of the paper on that second step when you buff with a paper towel or a soft cloth. So I think whenever I use a watercolor like this that is very shimmery, I'm going to go ahead and use the Distress Microglaze on it to protect the envelope. But I think I'm going to kind of be careful not apply too much and skip that second step. I'm not going to buff it off. I'm just going to let it dry, and it's going to have to dry for a little longer than it would normally. And if any of you have used the Distress Microglaze, you might have noticed that on some surfaces, it does darken the paper a little bit because it is adding moisture to the paper. So it looks like it kind of darkens it and gets it really wet. And then, over the course of a day, it dries and it goes back to its regular color. So I think I would go ahead and just skip that buffing step if I were to do this again. All in all, I don't mind it. It just makes it look like the red envelope has a little bit of a shimmer on it, which is kind of pretty and special. So it turned out pretty well. And in actuality, I've already mailed this envelope. So there's a good chance that Lisa will have received this before this video goes up. So, hey, Lisa, if she's watching this. I added a little heart next to the P.O. box just to get everything looking a little bit more centered. And I love how this turned out. This lettering style reminds me of the Harry Potter books for some reason. I think it's the kind of playful style with those slab serifs. So on the flap of the envelope, I put my return address, which is my P.O. box or my UPS store box. This is not my home address. And I just put that on the back with a white Gelly Roll pen. This is the number 10 Gelly Roll pen, which I find works much better than any of the other more fine line sizes. After all the watercolor was dry, I came back and erased all my pencil lines that were kind of still hanging out. You may have noticed that when I was painting on the words that I did not follow my penciled lines completely. I changed things a little bit, moved some letters around, and you can definitely do that. You can always erase those pencil lines later. I used 2 Forever stamps, ones that were released years ago, and then this very vintage stamp. And instead of using, like licking the stamp or anything like that, I've started spraying a paper towel and then pressing the stamp into the paper towel. And that adds just enough moisture to get it sticky and have it stick to the envelope. So here's that step with the Distress Microglaze that I was talking about. When I apply Distress Microglaze, I like to use a mini round blending tool. It fits perfectly inside the jar and it keeps my hands from getting all greasy with the microglaze. So I'm very gently kind of buffing this on. At this point, the shimmer is not moving at all. I think there's enough slip in the microglaze that it doesn't really disturb anything underneath. And this kind of goes for any other envelope I've ever worked on. On the initial application, it never disturbs anything underneath. If it's going to disturb anything underneath, it happens during this buffing step. So I'm buffing with a paper towel. I'm also making sure that I did not add any microglaze over the postage stamps because the post office needs to be able to cancel those out. So it's this step right here, buffing over the words, that it sort of started to spread that shimmer everywhere. And I'm going to hold it up in the light so you can see. When I tip it, you can just see it has that shimmer. The paper looks actually really pretty with the shimmer on it, but it definitely came from the watercolor. So that is my card and envelope set for today. Super simple card and also a very simple envelope with just lettering. I hope you guys enjoyed. And as this video goes up, it is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching my videos and subscribing and just being curious about what I'm up to and what I'm creating. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back here on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time live on YouTube. So please come by and join me. We're going to be creating probably another card, maybe an envelope, who knows. Come join me this Wednesday, 2 days from now at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. See you there.